What's up, everybody? I'm hurting a little bit here. Right here, I just had a filling done, and I'm in quite a bit of pain because of said filling. Now most people know if you get fillings, shit don't hurt that bad, but doctor said I was about a week, maybe week and a half away from needing a root canal if I would have let it go just a little bit further. So I went in a good damn time, and that shit's sensitive as hell. Every time I take a sip of something cold, gotta do it through this side so it doesn't hurt like a son of a bitch. But that's besides the point. So if my voice seems to be a little bit lower as far as volume goes, that is the reason why. But yeah, that's currently what's going on. So I'm in a little bit of misery here, a little bit of pain, a little bit of discomfort. That's besides the point, because I had you guys talking to I asked in my last video, and I had you guys say that you'd like to hear my explanation of how I got into metal. Now, before I continue forth on my metal journey, whatever the hell, we're playing Arcanum's album Friend Martyr in the background. Arcanum's a kick-ass Swedish black metal band that does not get the love they deserve. For sure they don't get the love that they deserve yet. Or I feel like they're going to get bigger, because I've heard a couple of people mentioning them recently on YouTube in the past few months, and hopefully that'll get some attention over to them, because they're a kick-ass band. They're not nearly as good as they used to be, I would say, but that seems to be the case for a lot of bands. But, so yeah, Arcanum's playing in the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you guys from the beginning to current my my love of metal. So when I was super young, I have much older brothers, and they grew up as teenagers in the 90s, which, as you know, that would put you in a pretty good spot for metal. My oldest brother graduated in, I want to say, 1993, maybe 1992, and my other brother graduated in 1997. So I wasn't even born, and they were already out of high school. So yeah. Yeah, so that's them. I grew up with them, living in the house and stuff still. So I hung out with them a lot, and they were both into metal. Especially my middle brother's more into metal than my eldest brother, but my elder brother did also love metal. He's into cars. He used to drive his Corvette all over the place for shows and stuff like that, and that was like my first recollections of extreme metal. Sorry, I almost knocked my tea over. I remember driving down some roads because of where I live. There's a lot of open roads, lots of places to go, and we were blasting Slayer and Metallica and Rob Zombie and some Anthrax and shit like that. Especially Slayer was getting played, and I kind of just had a love for it because my brothers did. I kind of looked up to them when I was younger, as most people do when they have older siblings, and I thought it was awesome. So from an early age, I was listening to pretty, not really extreme, but more metal than most 3- and 4-year-olds are listening to. Yeah, and my elder brother was really into the 90s metal. You know, he was big into the Rob Zombies stuff, obviously Metallica and Slayer and stuff like that. Some Godsmack he liked, which isn't really metal, but he liked them quite a bit, and I would listen to that kind of stuff with him all the time as well. So I started off from a really young age with my brothers. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit till I was about 8. I just kind of listened to whatever they were listening to, and obviously it was metal and some country music and stuff like that. Guitar Hero 3 came out, and I loved every second of playing it. I played it all the damn time, and I really, really, really loved playing the last level that consisted of Iron Maiden, Slayer, Metallica, and that one guy that wrote Cliffs of Dover that I always forget the name of. That was badass. Stuff like that was awesome. My favorite always to play was Raining Blood. And I loved hearing it, and I also loved playing the, the Slipknot songs that were in there, and the other stuff like that. Slipknot, Rob Zombie, and I got super crazy into Slipknot when I was young, like a lot of people did. And I would just blast that and some Rob Zombie and stuff like that. And this little this little MP3 player that kind of looked like a battery, the size of one. And I had all this music that my brother's girlfriend downloaded onto there for me. I had, stuff, everything from Linkin Park to Slayer to Metallica to Rob Zombie to even some early punk stuff. I had a Misfits song or two on there. I had quite a few Ramones songs on there, stuff like that. And I would listen to tons of that with my brothers and like Godsmack stuff and stuff like that, and I got super crazy into it. So basically I started listening to the majority of my music taste being metal from probably starting around 7 or 8 years old, whenever Guitar Hero 3 came out, and I don't remember the exact date. That's when metal hit me hard. I would always be playing that game in my basement. They'd come down and watch me. I'd jam on like Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. Everything basically in the game. And that really floored me. So around that time, I was knowing all those bands. I went to my grandma's house, who had Comcast On Demand, and they had music videos for metal bands. So I looked on there, I saw, the bands that I was looking for. I was looking for Slipknot, I was looking for Rob Zombie, I was looking for Slayer and stuff like that. But I also saw these names that were just ridiculous. The first one that I saw was Behemoth. Behemoth, the video for Slave Shall Serve, the intro in Polish scared the shit out of me, and then the close-up of Nurgle's face, and then the windmilling. Never saw anything like that. The windmilling, the corpse paint, I never saw anything like that. It scared the shit out of me. And I thought that was insane. Then I went further down the list. It's that Cannibal Corpse, Evisceration Plagues music video. And the first thing that I noticed is that they were all wearing t-shirts in the snow. And that really blew my mind. Because I'm from up north. And that's unheard of up here. If you're walking around in northern Illinois in the snow and you have a t-shirt on, you're going to freeze your ass off. It's cold up here. It gets super cold up here. And that kind of blew my mind, and the video was graphic. The Evisceration Plague music video, if you've seen it, the zombies and stuff, that's graphic. And then I went further down the list, all the way to the end, looking for White Zombie, and I found this band, Wicked Witch, W-Y-K-Y-D, W-Y-T-C-H. It is a gothic black metal band that I looked back in the past few years and found them again. Not very big into them, to be honest, but I saw the music video of the female vocalist with dreadlocks down to her knees that were red, and she was dressed in a cloak, and I thought that was horrifying. Like, I had nightmares. I'm pretty sure I had nightmares. So that basically just scared the piss out of me as far as extreme metal goes. So fast forward a little bit, then I went to be 6th or 7th grade, started skateboarding a lot. I still skateboard. I still love doing it. It's still a lot of fun. I was out at the skate park earlier today, actually. Those guys on, Baker, Skateboards, and Death Wish were blasting stoner and doom metal. I got introduced to Black Sabbath. I got introduced to Pentagram, Pagan Altar, Witchcraft, all these different bands. And I loved every second of it. Oh my god, did I get super into that shit. That really floored me. I heard Electric Funeral in D. Ostrander's skate park for Smut 3, the FU crew on YouTube. He played Electric Funeral in the background, and I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever heard in my life. And then Slash had Last Days Here in his Fallen skateboard part. John Dixon had a couple different Witchcraft songs throughout his career in his parts, like Queen of Bees, Dr. Doctor, Sorrow Evoker, stuff like that. And I was just listening to the shit out of that. Then I was scrolling through the recommendeds on YouTube, and I found Acid Witches, Witch-Tanic Hallucinations. Love the art. Hated the death growls. And I just kind of tossed it to the side. Later came on, I got and met my friends that I have now that are actually bandmates of mine. My buddy Sam got me into like loving metal again. Started listening to a lot of the old school thrash and shit, and that's where I kind of came to be where I am now. From thrash, I started watching videos on YouTube with these different bands, and a guy came into my recommended feed. You guys all know him, Count Blagareth. Came into my recommended feed talking about Stages Decomposition's album Piles of Rotting Flesh. I heard that name, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Disgusting, slamming death metal. I watched how he described it and the passion that he had behind it, and it floored me. I watched the video probably 7 times, I'm sure. Probably more by now. I've rewatched it a bunch of times. And I downloaded Stages Decomposition's Piles of Rotting Flesh onto my iPod at that time, as well as the entire discography of Cannibal Corpse, every song I ever wrote. And I just compulsively listened to all of it, and then I started hearing Cannibal Corpse more and more, and I was like, wow, I remember this band from when I was young. And yeah, stuff like Hammer Smashed Face Live, the intro screaming, got in my head all the time, and I thought it was the coolest shit ever. So I started off doing thrash, and then that was my bridge into death metal. And then he started talking about Nocturnal Mortem, Burzum, and Immortal a lot. Started watching music videos. Nocturnal Mortem's Lunar Poetry has been played by me so many times. I have it over there. Nocturnal Mortem's right here, where they belong, right up front, so everybody knows. Nocturnal Mortem. And basically from there and through YouTube, I've just found more and more albums to the point where I am now, and I have all these bands that I listen to all the time that I would have never found out if it wasn't for Metal YouTube. All these bands that I would have never heard of on Comcast On Demand, which is a big thing getting me into extreme metal. Yeah, watching YouTube videos genuinely got me to where I am today. Hearing all these people talk about all these different bands that I've never heard of, all these bands that don't get media coverage, I've turned into the metalhead that I am. I started watching all this stuff, and then, you know, I started getting into the bands that I worship now. Behemoth, I revisited. Opeth, I started going crazy about. Mayhem, the documentaries went crazy, stuff like that, and I started appreciating the atmospheres because of what these people were telling me about it. I was understanding what it's about, and that's something I lacked with all of this other metal, was atmosphere. And now that I've learned to appreciate atmospheres, I genuinely love it, every second of it. So that's pretty much my metal journey, guys. That's pretty much all of it. I covered everything that's important about it, really. I mean, there's probably little loops in between that I just can't think of right now. This doesn't feel very good. Every breath I take in does not feel good, especially through my mouth. See, mouth breathing is no bueno for anybody. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. My whole metal journey was pretty mainstream until I hit YouTube. And YouTube floored me into Doom and Stoner. I come from Doom. Doom is my shit. The only thing that surpasses Doom in my book is black metal, and Doom is right behind it. So that's it, guys. That's everything. I love it. Love metal. Probably always will. At least I hope so. But I do love lots of other music. If you guys want me to do a video on the other genres of music that I like, let me know in the description down in the comments. So I'd love to see some video replies on how people are getting into metal. Specifically, I'd love to hear Ben Smasher, Brain Smasher here on YouTube. I'd love to hear what he has to say about how he got into metal. Lyricist 17, Marty Worm, all you guys, Count Blagareth, whoever's watching it, everybody do one. I'd love to see it. Keep it greasy, guys.